Welcome, everyone, to the college football preview edition of YouTube Take. I'm your illustrious, graceful, returning host, Big Red 310, with my boy here with me right now.
It's Nightmare Baller 1, Nightmare Comics 1, the artist formerly known as Nightmare, a lot of shit.
And we are back to preview one of America's greatest pastimes. The season of college football is upon us, and we haven't really been missing it, right?
What?
We love this sport.
Honestly, I was fine until that AP poll came out. I was like, okay, now I need college football in my life, like right now. But the same thing happens to me during college basketball season. Like, I'm fine now, but then that AP poll is going to come out, and I'm going to be like, hold on.
Well, I feel your pain because I'm very excited for college football, mainly because I'm very excited for UM this season. We're going to win it all, in case you didn't know. Was obviously a joke, but still, we are very excited.
At the end, you want me to just quick thoughts on the NFL and shit?
Yeah.
Be here for the other video?
Yeah, we can throw some stuff in there for sure. But right now, we're going to get right to it. We're going to break down each conference by conference. The major conferences, the Power 5 only. But we're going to break them down, talk about who we like.
There's a reason for that. I feel like this year, there will be no team that really will surprise anyone and really be that competitive with the other conferences, to be honest with you. There are no Illinois, there are no Boise States, and there's no shit like that. That's going to happen.
So will you say that there's no non-Power 5 team that will be ranked in the top 15 by the end of the season?
I doubt it. It's highly doubtful, unless Boise somehow beats Ole Miss and runs the table.
Okay.
I can't see either of those things happening. So.
All right, that makes sense. So we're going to talk about the main Power 5 conferences, and we're going to talk about, like I said, who is the favorite or what we think is going to be the conference championship game. And maybe, we won't preview every team, obviously. Markeem's good, but that's a crazy toll. But we'll see who's a surprise, who's going to be maybe a disappointment, favorites, winners, losers, that sort of thing. But if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get right to it. Let's start with the biggest conference in all of sports, every sport, including college basketball, the Southeastern Conference. For those that don't know, last year when Florida and Kentucky were both in the Final Four, the SEC fans had a lot of fun.
No, they were in the Elite Eight.
And the Elite Eight.
Florida lost to UConn.
Lost to UConn, but Kentucky was in the Final Four.
Yeah.
Wait, are you sure about that?
I'm positive. The game before that, it was UConn and...
Who did UConn beat in the Final Four?
Oh, it might be Florida. You might be right.
I'm pretty sure, because I remember thinking...
Yeah, you might be right. I think it might have been Florida. Yeah.
Because I just remember... Yeah,
I can't remember how the bracket was set up, but...
I was pretty confident that Florida had gone just because I obviously love that school so much. I remember keeping strong tabs on how they're doing. Yeah, they were in the Final Four.
Okay. So
Florida and Kentucky were both in the Final Four, and the SEC fans had a lot of fun with that. And myself, Ben Turpin, Jeremy Foster, a lot of our friends here on Twitter all messaged Markeem talking about the dominance of the SEC, and he was not happy, to say the least.
Hey, those are only two. Yeah, those are the only two good teams all year in that conference. That's it.
But we can reasonably admit that the SEC, even though it is overrated, is still the best conference in college football.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that gap is getting smaller and smaller, though.
I can agree.
I think it's damn near tiny now. I really think so.
I can see that. I mean, all you have to do is look at the Bama-Oklahoma game and say all you want about, they didn't care, it wasn't a national championship game. I mean, just knowing Nick Saban as well as I do, from everything you hear about him from his days with the Dolphins and from everything you hear about him in Bama, I'd be surprised if Saban was just like, yeah, this one doesn't matter, guys. Just go out there. I'm pretty sure... Granted, the players certainly didn't play as hard as they normally do, but either way, the point is, all you need to do is see that game to see that maybe the SEC isn't this unstoppable force like we thought it would be. Hell, Auburn, fucking the national championship game.
Exactly.
Gave them a great game, but Florida State came out on top. And, I mean, just across the board, didn't the SEC, do really bad in the bowl season? Like Georgia lost to Nebraska, if I remember correctly, even though they didn't have Aaron Murray.
I can't remember everything, sir.
I remember something. It was something like that.
That was last year.
Yeah. Last year. Texas A&M got their shit wrecked by Duke. They ended up winning the game, but as you very well know, they shouldn't have.
Oh yeah, they shouldn't have.
So, it's really not this dominating force. But nonetheless, they're still the best. We'll get right into it. And I feel the only way to get right into it is to talk about the biggest team in college football.
Before we get started,
What?
I'm going to be a traveling circus this year. I've hashed out my schedule for this season. Kind of finalized everything. There are 3 games I'm officially going to around the country.
Okay.
September 27th, which is my the weekend that takes place after my birthday, which is the 25th. I'll be at the UNC Clemson game in Death Valley. So
Nice.
Leaves me out there. You can come speak to me, whatever. I don't remember the exact day, but in October, I'll be at the Virginia Tech Miami game. And I can't remember the exact day.
It's October 23rd, and the reason I know that is because I might be at that game as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, all right.
My brother started school at American University this year in D.C., so we're considering it.
And this is official, and this is the one I'm looking forward to. Like, honestly, if I can only go to one, this would be the one I choose, including the Virginia Tech game. November 8th, Death Valley, LSU. The biggest game I've ever been to in my life. LSU, Alabama.
Wow.
Always wanted to do it, at least one time.
Wow.
Now I get a chance to do it. And possibly a 4th game, because I'll be in Ohio to see some family. To end the season, this is possible. I'm not sure, because I'll be in Columbus. So I want to end the season with Michigan, Ohio State. So, but if I'm going to do that, I have to get them tickets quick, because that game sells out, as you can imagine, rather quickly. So,
I had a friend that went to LSU, Alabama, and he was a big Bama fan. Apparently, if you want to go to any bar in that area, just to, get some food or just to get, decent service, not just as customers, but as human beings, you can't be pro-Bama anything. They are hated over there, to say the least.
Well, I would imagine.
That rivalry runs deep. Speaking of Bama, I think that's a nice segue. I know Auburn did go to the national title game, but I feel out of due respect to kind of the best team of the past, the best franchise, if that's a term in college football, of the program. The best program of the past 10 years, we should pay our respects to Bama by mentioning them here first. And I want to ask you how you feel they can do this year, and are they the automatic favorites to win this conference?
Automatic favorites? No, because they lost their 5th-year senior and their leader, AJ McCarron, which is a big deal. We can't just skim over that. That is a big deal. However, this Jacob Coker kid is supposed to be more talented than them. Supposed to be able to be, just being a better all-around player. So if that is the case, then I think they're definitely the favorite. Yeah, I mean, it's just they retool every year, man. Didn't they have the top or the number 2?
I think they had the top. Yeah.
They do this every year since Nick Saban's been there. They always have the best players. I would say they're the 2nd most talented team in the country. So you have them. Surprise! I'm picking them to win the SEC. Surprise! They got that new kid I was telling you about.
Coker, yeah.
Coker. But what's the other kid? The senior kid that was behind Sims. He might actually play too. It's looking like Coker, but they're not exactly sure. Saban hasn't officially named a starter yet. I imagine it will happen soon. Yeah,
Coker transferred from. For those who do not know, Jacob Coker was the backup behind Jameis Winston at FSU, and they say, this is according to Jimbo Fisher, so take this with a grain of salt, but he claims that Jacob Coker actually made it a close quarterback race with Jameis Winston in the offseason to see who would win the starting job. So take that for what you will. Blake Sims is his name, by the way, the other guy you were thinking of.
Yeah. So I knew it was something, Sam.
Yeah.
Now here's my only concern with them.
I
all knew it was coming.
I wonder where this is going.
Everyone, y'all know, if y'all been following this show, there are two people I just have it out for. Logan Thomas, who is not my problem anymore, is one of them, and Lane Kiffin being the other. This team has so much talent. T.J. Yeldon's back. They got that other guy as his number 2 punch. What's his name?
I know he's a stud.
Something Henry. Derrick Henry.
It's my job. I'll look it up.
Derrick Henry, that's his name.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They got them in the backfield. They're comparing that to what Trent Richardson and Mark Ingram had. Yeah, I mean, people are saying that. That'll be their MO anyway, running the ball. Hopefully, if Kiffin does what he's supposed to, hopefully that'll be their MO, running the ball. That's what worries me, because their defense, even though they lost C.J. Mosley, even though they lost Clinton Dix, they still had the top recruiting class in the country. Yeah, I mean, they still got a good share of those guys coming back, I believe. I can't remember everyone right
Landon, what's the guy's name? Landon Collins or something? I know that guy's supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah, but a good portion of those dudes are coming back.
Yeah.
So, they should, be in a good position to, win this conference again. But I think, honestly, I believe that their challenge, I believe there's 2 teams that can challenge them. And only one in the West that can challenge them. And we'll get to them. But, I feel like that's it, though. But, Lane Kiffin, it all depends on this man.
If they do not go to the...
But I'll say this.
What?
I don't think any team in college football is going undefeated this year.
Really? Oh, wow.
I think everyone will have a loss.
What do you think is Bama's best chance at a loss?
The game I'll be at.
Against LSU at Death Valley?
Yeah.
That does make a lot of sense. All right. I can definitely buy that. Well, thanks for talking about the great Bama. I'm looking at their schedule right now. They play...
Better than last year.
Yeah.
That schedule last year was just balls.
They play Florida. They play Florida at home. Not that Florida's guaranteed to be a top team or anything. Although I expect they'll bounce back. But at Death Valley, the Auburn game's at home this year. At Ole Miss, that one could be interesting.
That could be interesting too.
Yeah, so we'll see with Bama. It'll be very interesting. Obviously, everyone expects great things, but suffice to say, if they do not reach their potential, there's probably only one man to blame. As always, I'm very excited. If Bama goes out and loses to some random team, not some random team, but if they lose to Ole Miss, or if they lose to Texas A&M at home, I cannot wait for the Markeem, Lane Kiffin rant on how bad the offense probably played that day. So you have me excited for the future.
Y'all saw A&M's defense last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they're all older. I get all that, but who cares? It was terrible. Maybe they're just terrible. They're just older and terrible. Who knows? But if that Bama offense goes out there and lays an egg against A&M, you're going to want to hear the show. You're going to want to hear this show that next week. Trust me. You're going to want to be here.
I just love that we've been doing the show for 2 years now. And, every time we do a Lane Kiffin rant, we're like, well, this is probably the end because he's probably done. And then what did someone compare to? The phoenix that rises from the ashes and just comes back. And it's amazing.
Does he not have the best job that is not a coach in sports?
Yeah.
He has the best coaching job that's not a head coaching job in sports. It's like an assistant for Alabama.
It's pretty sweet.
Whack, man. He doesn't deserve it.
We shall see. If he may fuck it up, maybe Bama's too good to cover up for his mistakes. That'd be a story. Lane Kiffin's offense wins national championship, pursues head coaching offer somewhere else. Wouldn't that just be typical Kiffin if this team won it all, and then a desperate team hired the offensive coordinator of the national championship winning team, trying to
Oh my god, that sucks. You think about that.
But let's go to so for the rest of the West. Let's talk about two more teams, LSU and Auburn, and how you think. Oh well, let's go to Auburn. Give them some respect. Coming back from going to the national title game, what is their prospects like this year?
It is hard to do that again. Like Gus Malzahn did an amazing job last year. And I think he'll do a damn good job this year. I think Auburn will compete and things like that. But losing Trey Mason is a big fucking blow. This dude was a Heisman finalist. Yeah, I mean, we know what kind of impact he meant to their option game.
Yeah.
You know, they're straight up renegade. Like losing him is, you know, it's a big damn deal. And losing Greg Robinson too. I think no one's even talking about that shit. Like, you know, losing him too, that's a big deal. Like, you know what I mean? This dude, one of the top picks in the draft. It's a big fucking deal, man. I think they'll be a little worse, man. I don't see them, like, you know, making it to the national championship game again. If they do, like, my lord, like, Gus Malzahn be in the damn NFL.
If they make it to the national title game again, expect Gus Malzahn to be coaching the Cowboys after next year.
The Cowboys? Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But I can't see them winning it all or making it to the title game again. I think Nick Marshall's numbers will be better because, you know, him having another year in his belt, they're going to have to rely on him passing more. If you know something about that dude, he's very careful with the ball. They won't have him do anything he's not able to do. He'll probably, you know, run a bunch of, you know, QB rollouts, options to run or pass. Yeah, I mean, they'll keep it, you know, they'll keep it to his strengths. He should have a big year. And I'll talk more about him later on in this video. So you know, there's that. I mean, I don't know. The defense was very suspect this year. You know, a year supposed to make you, you know, a little bit better. Like people like to talk about the SEC and how great the defenses are. Auburn was a total opposite of what you usually see from the SEC. Like last year, they were horrible defensively, but they were such a juggernaut offensively that it kind of carried them. So
yeah.
You know, I think that you're going to see more of that, but I just don't know if they can just outscore people the way they used to without Trey Mason. Like, that ball control is really important.
They were
not being there, you know.
They led all of college football in rushing yards last year. I'm looking at it right now. First in rushing in all of college football. That's a lot of volume that needs to be replaced, and that's tough to find. So I can definitely understand your concerns in that area. Just quick glance at their schedule. They also go on the road at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is very good at home. They go on the road at Georgia. That's not going to be easy. And they have LSU at home, and obviously they have the big Bama game at the end of the year as always. Not an easy road for them either, so we'll see. But hey, if you have to trust the offensive ineptitude of Gus Malzahn versus Lane Kiffin, I mean, you never know, right? For that last game, you just never know. So I'll say that.
I'll tell you what, though. What? If see the reason why I'm still picking Bama to come out the SEC, I'm just gonna spoil all that. But the reason why I'm still picking them is because I think if Lane Kiffin struggles too much offensively, Nick Saban will just take over. Like, This was a mistake. Go sit down. You're gone next year. That's what would happen. So
fair enough. I can definitely understand that. Plus, they like we've been saying, they have such a talented team that even if they do go through some offensive struggles, they can kind of move past it. I mean, I remember A.J. McCarron had some games, like over the past 3 years, where he wasn't fully spot on. The Mississippi State game comes to mind, for example, where he threw 2 interceptions.
The LSU game 2 years ago until the end.
Yes.
To that last drive.
Like, they can, you know, they're usually talented enough to overcome these things. But, nonetheless, let's move on. LSU, finally, we've talked about, we haven't mentioned them yet. Quickly, how are they doing this year?
Losing Zach Mettenberger. I can't believe I'm saying this. Before last season, I can't believe I'm saying this. But losing that dude is a big fucking deal, man. Like, him and Odell Beckham Jr. was so much of what they did, man. Like, yeah, Jeremy Hill was good, and but it was mainly them, man. Like Odell Beckham as the deep threat. You know what I mean? As that threat to go to the house every time he touched it. And, Zach Mettenberger, improving the way he did. I mean, that's why I'm rooting for him at the NFL level. It's just a big deal losing both of them at the same time like that. It's gonna be. I don't know how they're going to overcome this, to be honest with you. And Jeremy Hill. They lost Jeremy Hill, I forgot. So, you know, it's a big deal. Like I think personally they'll bounce back because of this boy known as Leonard Fournette. Oh my God, I've been looking at his damn tape. This dude is a bruiser, man. He's like, imagine this. Imagine someone as elusive as they say he's like Adrian Peterson crossed with Barry Sanders. And I totally agree with that.
Wow.
Like, he's the bruiser like that, and he can make motherfuckers miss just like Barry used to. You got to see this boy. Like, you know.
That name sounds familiar, Leonard Fournette. I think I've heard it around before, but I mean, fuck, that does sound kind of goddamn crazy.
He's amazing. He is amazing, man. Like he said, and they asked him, it was like, who's your favorite running back playing? Like I saw an interview with him, and it was funny because they asked, who's your favorite running back playing? He's like, Adrian Peterson. Who's your favorite of all time? Barry Sanders. Hilarious. Like I'm telling you, man, this dude is the real deal. That's why I think that he will be the big, because every year there's a big freshman guy that makes like a Heisman push, like whether they're in New York or not. He'll be the guy this year.
Okay.
He's I'm telling you, if he stays healthy, my God, my Lord. and the blocking, LSU's, offensive line, I think all of them are back, so.
Sweet. So we expect good things out of LSU in that area. The next thing, obviously the next team I want to move on to before we the next two teams, we'll cover both these teams and then we'll leave the rest of the West behind. But for Texas A&M, I want to ask about, because obviously, they're losing Johnny Manziel and Mike Evans, which obviously, in your opinion, the MVP of the team last year. So it does matter. How are they going to do? Oh, and no Jake Matthews either. They're kind of in an interesting spot right now where they're kind of seemingly trying to recover from the Johnny Manziel era and move into a new era. What's their story going to be like this year?
This is a rebuilding year. I don't expect them to really be all that relevant, to be honest with you. I give them they'll be bowl eligible. I think they win 6-7 games. Yeah. I mean, if they're lucky. This is the SEC.
Yeah.
So, but don't expect them to be all that relevant, to be honest with you. They're a good team. They're a good, respectable team, but don't expect any national attention from this team. Like, you can't lose a player like Johnny Manziel and Mike Evans and Jake Matthews with a mediocre defense and expect to just everything be roses. You know what I mean? I don't expect it. And Kevin Sumlin, I heard he's supposed to be some defensive guy. Look at his numbers as a head coach defensively. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand where that stigma came from. Maybe because he's black, and I guess they figure every black coach you ever hear that? Like, every black coach, somehow they're a defensive guy. I don't know.
I have heard that. I mean, if you look in the NFL right now, Lovie Smith
is considered a defensive. He is a defensive guy, but
Yeah. No, it definitely makes sense. Okay, so Texas A&M rebuilding, reestablishing their identity makes sense. Finally, and I want to mention these guys because I know you're higher on them than most people are. Ole Miss. Why exactly do you like them?
Not yet. Defensively, because they got
Robert Nkemdiche
and the other dude on the other end that got hurt last year. They got both of them. You know what I mean? And when you have two guys rushing the quarterback at that level, they, you know what I mean? They should be pretty damn good. They got an All-American in the secondary. I can't pretty much defensively I'm like, yeah, they're one of the top defensive teams in the SEC. But they got talented wide receiver too. I can't remember any of these dudes' names. But they got talented wide. And Bo Wallace, if you watched him last year, he got better as the season went along. It is another year in his belt. He should play better. I just don't think they're quite ready yet to make a national championship push. I think next year will be the year for all that. I don't think it'll happen this year, but they will be a very good team this year. And, I wouldn't be shocked if they do make a national champ. They got the talent to do it. I mean, this season, but I don't think they're quite there yet. It's not quite.
Okay.
Another thing I want to talk about though before we move on, Mississippi State. Everyone's giving these dudes a lot of hype because they got a lot of returning talent. They got that dude that'll probably be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. That defensive tackle, I forget his name. Dan Mullen, who pretty much fought who wanted to coach them pretty much his entire career here. You know what I'm saying? And This is the year they're supposed to make some noise, but I hear this shit every season. Anybody that has them in the, anywhere near the title game, or I hear this every year. Every year, this is the year they're supposed to compete and do something, and it happens. It's been happening since I've been a kid, and every single year they're below expectations. Whether people think they're going to be a decent team, they end up a horrible team. When people think they're going to be a good team, they end up a decent team. People end up think they're going to be a great team, they end up a good team. That's what happens. That's what they do. I don't expect much. So they'll be a good team. They'll be a good team.
Finally, just to our friend, our boy Matt Beast, his hometown Arkansas team, just to say something about them. Are they at least going to be somewhat better in any capacity, or
you can't get much worse?
Yeah.
Like, God, man, because
they were.
Bielema is such a great coach, man, and it's just that lets you know, man. Like, no matter how great your coaching is, you need fucking talent, bro. And
they were 3-9, 0-8 in the conference last year. So
it's crazy in this.
But I will say, Matt Beast knows about this. Their running back, his name is Alex Collins. He was going to go. He was originally supposed to come to the University of Miami. Then he was going to announce his decision on television, and then the story is he made up his mind to go to Miami. And then as he was walking to the stage to talk about to announce it, within those 5 minutes of him thinking about it more, when he was already at the station, he changed his mind from UM to Arkansas. And there was a big controversy, and his mom wouldn't let him sign the papers because his mom didn't want him to leave the state of Florida. He's from Florida. But Alex Collins, he was a 5-star recruit out of high school. He had 1,000 yards last year as a true freshman. He's something to give them some hope. But everybody else, they're in trouble. So best of luck to our friend Matt so he can enjoy his days of being an Arkansas fan. But anyways, that's enough of the West. We like Bama. Second biggest threat, I presume we're going to say Auburn here, out of respect.
Auburn and LSU, I think it's a tie.
Okay. Now let's go to the East, a team that's getting a ton of hype. And I mean like a shit ton of hype. I was surprised at the stuff I was reading about these guys. South Carolina has been propped up big lately. I've seen some people put them in the SEC title game. I've seen some people even put them in the national title game, having them topping Bama. I want to question you. Do you buy the hype behind South Carolina this season?
You cannot lose the best pass rusher we've seen since Bruce Smith and a senior quarterback that has been virtually mistake-free. Who else they lose last year? Pretty much they lost Corals, I think. They lost pretty much you can't lose. You know what I'm saying? You can't lose these players and people just think, oh yeah, they're going to the national championship. Like Drew Thompson, who I like a lot. I think it's dope he finally gets to start. They got Mike Davis, who's probably, if not the best, the second best running back in the SEC. You know what I mean? But it's just hard it's hard for me to say something like that when you lose a Clowney and you lose a Connor Shaw. I can't go that far. You know what I mean? I think they'll be a good team. I don't even think they'll win the East, to be honest.
Wow.
But I think they'll be a good team. I think they'll be a really good team. I think they'll be a great team to compete to win the East. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Because, Steve Spurrier, in a recent press conference, said that Saban was the greatest coach of all time and the greatest recruiter of all time. And Bomani Jones, I remember, tweeted when he said that Steve Spurrier only puts over his opponents, heavily, when he thinks he has the team to beat them.
Yeah, that is true. He did the same thing to Philip Fulmer. He called Philip Fulmer when they when he was beating them and shit like that. He would every year he beat them. He'd go, Philip Fulmer is one of the all-time greats, and I don't want to hear anyone say he's not. That man gives his blood, his sweat, and his tears every year to that team. And they got a stud. That boy Peyton Manning, he's going to be a stud at the next level. You watch. I heard that the entire time Peyton was there. So that's what he does. That is true.
Okay, so yeah, that's
the same thing about him. Before he thought he could challenge Bowden, he didn't say shit about Bowden. But that year he thought, we're gonna beat them this year. He was like, "Oh yeah, Bobby Bowden's one of the best we've ever seen." Yeah. So maybe Spurrier knows something I don't. So
we shall see.
And Shaq Rowland's a bad dude, but he's still there. So I call it wide receiver U, man, because every year there's some standout wide receiver at South Carolina. There was Sidney Rice, there was Alshon Jeffrey, Shaq Rowland, man. Shaq Rowland, that dude's big time.
I'm going to go next to, I presume, your favorites that come out of the East. Correct me if I'm wrong. Georgia?
Yeah.
Talk about them.
Dig this, okay? Dig this. I don't know how many of these dudes are starting, but they had a disappointing... I don't know how many of these dudes are back because I don't follow them like that. I'm pretty sure Ben Turpin will be able to tell me. Yeah. But dig this. These are all the players that got injured last year at some point in the season. Colin Barber, Michael Bennett, Chris Conley, Canarius Gates, Ty Gurley, Josh Harvey Clemens, Keith Marshall, Troy Matthews, Malcolm Mitchell, Corey Moore, Aaron Murray, Connor Norman, Jonathan Rump, Jay Rome, Justin Scott Wesley, and Garrison Smith. Wow. All those dudes got hurt last year. All of them. I know for a fact, but Garrison Smith came back in the game. He got hurt, but still. All those dudes got hurt at some point last year. That's why they ended up as bad as they are. I know for a fact Garrison Smith is back. I know Gurley and Marshall are back. They lost Aaron Murray, which I think is a big fucking deal. But that dude, and I know Jay Rome is back too. But what's that guy?
The quarterback?
Yeah, the
Hudson
guy
Mason
from Murray. What's his name?
Hudson Mason?
Yeah, Hudson Mason. Like, he played well towards the end of the season. You know what I mean? People think he's just going to carry that. I'm one of those people. I think that they will beat every team in the East.
Wow.
I think don't they play LSU? They play LSU?
I'm looking at their schedule right now. Hold on.
Who's that? Some good team they play from the West. I think
they don't play LSU. They play Auburn.
Yeah, that's the game they lose.
Okay.
But I think that they beat every team from the East. I think they're that much better than every team from the East.
Wow. I'm sure Ben will be happy to hear that. I was actually with Ben the other day, and we were talking about Georgia. And if any of you knows Ben, he's an Atlanta fan, which, unfortunately, that involves being fans of Georgia, the Falcons, the Braves.
Hey, Georgia plays in Athens. What is he talking about?
You know what I mean. His teams have a history of having extremely either embarrassing or disappointing performances in big games, whether it be the Falcons collapsing in the playoffs, the Braves collapsing in the first round of the playoffs. And just last year, 2 years ago, Georgia almost went to the national title game, almost conceivably won the national championship, but fell just short to Bama. And then last year, Georgia had the game against Auburn with Nick Marshall completing the Hail Mary on 4th and whatever to win the game.
That sucked. I felt horrible. I was like, oh, they played so well, and that's what happened. That was awful.
So he's had his fair share of disappointment, and he told me, knowing Atlanta sports' luck, or Georgia sports' luck, within the next 2 years, Georgia is probably going to be the number 1 seed going into the 14 playoff, and they will lose to the 4 seed before they could even advance to the national title game.
What if that happened this year? Oh, man. Man, Ben.
Oh, God. I bitch a lot about my teams, but I had the Heat carrying me there for a few years. He's had it rough. So if Georgia can make it back to the SEC title game, I'm sure there will be no one in the country happier to see that than him. So,
like the crazy thing though is that all these guys got to stay healthy. I can't imagine what happened last year will happen again. That's just bad luck, bro. I just can't imagine something like that happening again. That's why I got to go with the law of averages, man. I got to.
That makes sense. The next team on this that we should talk about is the SEC East champions from last year, Missouri. How are they looking this year?
They lost James Franklin, which I don't think is that big of a loss because Matty Monk will have a huge year this year. They are going to rely on him flinging the football. If you know when he played last year, he played pretty goddamn good. So I fully expect him to be, and he might even be, and this, I know this hyperbole. Everybody's going to go, whoa, I can't believe you said this. But the way he looked last year, with him getting all the reps and spring practice and all the reps now in practice and things like that, he might be the SEC Player of the Year.
Wow.
Like offensively, might be. Like that dude. Did you see him last year? Just being and this is him being a black backup. Yeah, I mean, this is the first time he played. You know what I mean? He was a freshman in 2012 and got redshirted, and he came in 2013 and started 4 games and looked really good, man, against very good competition. You know what I'm saying? Like, he kept them winning, and people was like, how are they doing this? He kept them winning. It wasn't James Franklin. James Franklin missed all the important stuff. It was him. A lot of people forget that. So I think he might even end up being the
SEC offensive
player of the year. Yeah, SEC Offensive Player of the Year. I really think that. I don't know. I don't know. Like, if you twisted my arm and asked me right now, I'd probably go with someone like maybe Todd Gurley or maybe Shaq Rowland or something like that. But, you know, he's still – that dude's really good, man. That dude's really good. People will see. They're not – I mean, they ain't better in Georgia. They ain't better in South Carolina. But that dude's really good. I mean, you can't lose Coney Ealy, and you can't lose Michael Sam. You know, your probably the 2 best players on the team, and everybody just go, "Oh yeah, they'll be back." It doesn't work that way unless you're Bama. It doesn't work that way.
I also want to point out that I'm looking at their schedule right now, and no Bama, no Auburn, no LSU. The only 2 teams they play from the West that could be the only 2 teams they play at all from the West this year are Arkansas and Texas A&M on the road. Obviously, Texas A&M on the road, not easy, but they got a decently favorable schedule there. So we'll see how Matty Mock does against this tough competition. Next up, we want to talk about my favorite team, the Florida Gators, the laughingstock of college football last year in my mind. And they had an awful season. I was very happy. They lost to an FCS team for the first time in their program's history last year. They once again got embarrassed by the Miami Hurricanes, as they always will. But they're coming back off a 4-8 season. Jeff Driscoll's coming back. They just got the offensive coordinator from Duke. I forget his name. Maybe you would know. I'm forgetting it. I'll look it up right now.
I forgot his name too, but he's damn good. David Cutcliffe.
Yes. So how do we feel about Florida this year?
Offensively, they've got to be better because you can't be much worse than they were last year.
My bad. Cutcliffe's the head coach of Duke. The offensive coordinator was
Roper.
Roper. Yes. Okay. Go for it.
I was getting them two confused because honestly, Roper is more of the coach than Cutcliffe. But anyway, Muschamp should stay far away from the offense. He's a defensive dude. Like, seriously, he's a defensive dude. Like, do that. That's what you do. Like, do that. Like, just have Roper coach the offense, you coach the defense. The defense last year was still very competitive. And when dudes started to get hurt, it was still respectable. It's not like people were going out there and just having, except Florida State. It's not like anyone else was going out there and they're just having their way with everyone, though. Aside from them, they still were respectable. I expect them to get back to kind of where they were defensively. I just don't know if offensively I'm ready to say they'll play up to expectations. This is Florida, man. You can never count these dudes out. This is one of the top programs in college football. They could easily win the East. The East is kind of wide open to me, to be honest with you. Wouldn't be shocked if South Carolina won. Wouldn't be shocked if Georgia won. Wouldn't be shocked if Missouri won. Wouldn't be shocked if Florida won. Wouldn't be shocked. It's wide open.
Yes.
I would be shocked if Kentucky won or some shit like that. But
Florida also
had Tennessee or something.
Florida also had some really bad luck with injuries last year. They had a lot of guys getting hurt. And
not like Georgia, though.
No.
But it was bad.
And I was pretty upset, too, because the Canes beat Florida last year, and we beat Florida when they were healthy, when they were completely healthy. And if you remember the game, the Canes looked really good during that game. And then by the end of the season, it's easy to point to Florida's record and talk about how bad of a team they were last year when they had some bad luck with injuries. They lost a lot of key guys in the middle of the season. And obviously, they lost Driscoll for the season as well. But I did say this to give them some credit. Roper, because he apparently knows what he's doing, is apparently trying to stop forcing Driscoll to play in a pro-style offense and is now going to try to institute more of a spread offense because he'd probably be better in that. The whole maximizing their talents, hiding their weaknesses, coaching 101.
Tim Tebow.
Essentially. So for what it's worth, their offense, as much as I hate these motherfuckers, their offense might actually improve. So we'll see what happens with them. Wouldn't be surprised at all if they take off, like Markeem said. Very quickly, want to say some kind words about Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, all at once. Freestyle.
Oh, well, Kentucky can't be much worse. They were pretty damn awful last year. But, yo, I have faith in Mark Stoops, man. Have faith in that dude. I want him to succeed so bad because I respect him as a man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I love that guy. I can't remember if it's Mike or Mark. I believe it's Mike.
Yeah.
Whatever. All three of them look alike. They all look like the same damn person. So, like honestly, it looks like Bob Stoops just switches wigs and just goes to different jobs.
That's funny.
But I respect him as a man because if you don't know, when he was at Oklahoma with his brother, he was very involved with the community there. When he was at Florida State, he was very involved there. You know what I mean? Like, he's a really good dude, and I want him to do well. Like, if y'all can't tell when I'm being for real or not, I'm being very serious. I want them to do well. I'm like, of any team in the SEC, I probably root for them the hardest. You know what I mean? Because I really want them to do well because of him. Because I know how hard he worked to get in this position. Yes. And he worked, you know what I mean? And I like seeing people who work hard
get what they deserve.
Yeah. So, I want them to be better. They can't be much worse. So there's that. I still don't think they're a bold team. Vanderbilt is going to be worse because they're not as talented, and they lost pretty much the Lord and Savior there to Penn State. So like James Franklin's gone. It's not that same camaraderie. It's not his same system. It's not his same. I don't know. Anything can happen, but I can't imagine. Can't imagine them. Being much better. And Tennessee is just way too young. It's too early. They're a bold team this year, though. Mark my words, they're a bold team this year, but it's too early. It's too early for them to do anything. Just way too early. Too young.
Next up, so that does it for the SEC. Final prediction, gun to your head, Bama, Georgia, Bama winning?
Yeah.
Sweet. Let's move on to the Pac-12. Let's start in the Pac-12 South with a team that is getting more hype than Oregon. I'm talking UCLA. And by hype, I mean the other day on College Game Day, Kirk Herbstreit was with two people doing a college football season preview. I do not know who their names were. I don't want to say one of them was Lee Corso because I don't want to hurt the reputation of this pick. But the other two analysts with Kirk Herbstreit both picked UCLA to win it all this year. How do you see UCLA doing this year?
Win it all as in the national championship?
Yes.
Herbstreit picked UCLA?
No. He didn't pick them. The two people he was with picked them.
I mean, yo, man, another year. That guy, help me out, quarterback.
Brett Hundley,
there you go. He's back. Jim Moore came back. Like he had, calls other places. People were calling back to the NFL. He wanted to stay. Brett Hundley said, "I'm going to stay because you here." That's kind of a big deal, man. Like you know what I'm saying? It's kind of a big deal. I don't know if I'm ready to do that. I mean, if I'm ready to say they'll win this division. this conference. I don't know if I'm ready to do that. But that team is infinitely better than they were last year. I know that. I honestly, before this video, I had no idea who was going to win this conference. This is just me kind of thinking of it as doing this. This is the one I really didn't know.
Can we say that they're the favorites of the South? It's that between them, and we'll get to the other teams, but USC, Colorado, Utah, Arizona State, Arizona, and UCLA.
See, I don't know, because USC has a lot of talent starting, not a whole lot of depth. So I guess you could say they're favorites. They kind of they got the best player in that division. So
also Joe Klatt, or I think that's his name. He's an announcer for Fox Sports 1. Last year, and I didn't even know this. Last year he picked Jameis Winston to win the Heisman before the season. He had seen. Yeah, it'd be the equivalent of you picking Leonard Fournette. He had just seen a lot of tape of him. He knew he was going to be a stud, and he knew how talented FSU was. So he picked Jameis to win the Heisman, which obviously was a pretty awesome pick in September. This year, he is picking Miles Jack, running back / linebacker of UCLA, a true sophomore, to win the Heisman.
Word?
Yeah.
Okay. I know who he's talking about, but I don't know about that.
A lot of hype behind UCLA this year. It surprised me. But fair enough. You think they'll be better for sure, but you're not quite confident in giving them the conference.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that.
What about your favorites? USC, now with Steve Sarkisian.
Like I said, they have a lot of talent, but they are not very deep. You know what I mean? And he doesn't have the workhorse of Bishop Sankey to just give the ball to anymore. Like, it's not gonna work like that. You know what I mean? He has to actually do stuff.
Yeah.
He can't just turn, and the offense can't just be turn, hand the ball to Sankey and make stuff happen. It's not gonna work like that. Losing Marquise Lee is a big hit. Yeah, but Aguilar is still. I think he's going to be the most important player in the Pac-12 all year, because there's no one that can cover him one-on-one in this conference. There is absolutely no one that can do it. So if USC is going to break through the glass ceiling, they need him to be kind of a Randy Moss type dude. It's that simple. It's pretty much him or bust. I think. Cody Kessler, he's gotten the red light to start. Or the green light, my bad, not red light. He's gotten the green light to start. You know what I mean? There were times where he looked great last year. There were times when he looked young and inexperienced last year. But I think a lot of that had to do with the girl that was coaching him for half the season last year. So, but they should be better. Sarkisian, say what you want about his play calling, but he's a great motivator. You know what I mean? Everyone knows that. Anybody that played for him would say that. You know what I mean? He's definitely better than Kiffin. You will be held accountable if some bad shit happens. I mean, it's interesting. I feel like it all rests on Aguilar. Like, he has to be what people want him to be. He has to be what people think he'll be. He has to be that for USC to be in. I mean,
do you suspect anything? What was I going to say? I remember you criticized Sarkisian last year to me on one of our shows. And I think it was something about like his play calling in the fourth quarter or in big games, something like that. Anything you want to bring up now?
Yeah, it's awful. He thinks the answer to everything is turn and hand the ball to the running back in a very boring way that anyone can see coming.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, I mean, they can't get any more predictable on offense than they were with Kiffin for the first half of last year.
That is true.
Any other team in the conference you want to give some love to? Colorado, Utah, Arizona State, just anything?
Honestly, I hate to say it, but no. I hate to say it because I respect the Utes a lot. I think for them to jump to the Pac-12, and they haven't been, they had a big upset win over Stanford last year. They've been relevant in this conference. This conference full of heavyweights. They've been respectable. But I think this year, nah. I can't.
Not yet. And Colorado, we're not supposed to acknowledge even existed.
They're going to win one conference game all year. I'm sticking to that.
We are not Colorado fans on this podcast, though.
The team's bad. Like, a team, it's like it's not getting any better. It's just a steady level of awful.
Jesus. I'm still excited for Colorado's season, so we can see how they do this year. I'll stay with that. But it is on Markeem's record. Colorado will win one conference game all year. Oh my God. I'm very excited for them. Fine. Let's move over to the Pac-12 North. Obviously, big guns.
This is what matters. This is what matters here.
The big guns with Stanford and Oregon. What do you have to say about these two? Which one's coming out on top?
Well, I'm not automatically going to say either one of them are coming out on top.
Whoa.
But one of them are coming out on top.
Oh. Okay.
You thought, where is it going with this? I'm not going anywhere crazy. I got Stanford like usual just because of the matchup. They own them, bro.
Yeah.
They own them. Now, they're destined to take a skid, man. You know, losing Trent Murphy, losing Tyler Gaffney, losing Ed Reynolds, losing Ben Gardner. I can kind of be here all day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so there's that, and Derek Mason going to Vanderbilt. I forgot all about that. Derek Mason going. I'm looking at my little notes now that I took earlier. Derek Mason going to Vanderbilt. Forgot all about that. So they're destined to take a hit. But I still think his system will be in place. And if that system's in place, they're going to beat Oregon.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how they – like, you cannot tell me that the year I picked them to beat Oregon, which was 2 years ago, and even last year, that they were a better team than Oregon. You can't tell me that. They just have their number. I don't know what it is. They just have their number. So I got them. I got them to win this conference, man. Like, you know, the physical style, all that stuff, the punish and running game, which I hear they got some kid that's supposed to replace Tyler Gaffney that's even more bruising than Tyler Gaffney. I heard about some kid, he's like 270 pounds, forget his name, but they're supposed to bring him in for like short yardage situations. Like, he's like a Jerome Bettis type dude. So, wow. Can you imagine that against Oregon's soft-ass defense?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I said. So I'm not saying. See, people think the word soft means bad. You know what I mean? No, they're finesse defense. They don't give up big plays. Yeah, I mean, they're very good in the red zone. I mean, they didn't really give up a lot of points. If you look at per possession to point ratio, they didn't give up a lot of points. It's just if you play a slow game. That's ball control. That's punishing. That's, you know, hitting them in the mouth and not giving a fuck. Then you have the advantage over them. And Stanford, that's their MO. You know, this was gonna happen. The same shit's gonna happen. Kevin Hogan's back, and
Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck says he's a mini version of him. You know, I saw flashes of the kid last year, and he's bringing back his top 3 receivers from last year. Let's see if I can do it. Their names. Don't look it up.
Right.
Michael Rector, Ty Montgomery, something Montgomery. I'm not sure if it's Ty, but and the other guy, I can't remember his name. But he's bringing all 3 of them back.
Devin Kajus.
Oh yeah, Devin Kajus. You said it right. Yeah, all 3 of them are going to be back. So.
Okay. So it's good things for Stanford this year. Picking them to win the North. What about Oregon? Number 3 ranked team in the country right now.
They'll do what they do every year. They'll score a bunch of points. They'll look amazing. People hype them up like, oh my God, can anyone stop them? And they'll lose when they're not supposed to. That's what they do.
I know, Ben, the other day, talking to him about Oregon, said that as soon as Chip Kelly left, like, he just thought they had no chance. Because he thought that they'd follow the same pattern like you just described. And that he doesn't give them any. Yeah, I mean, it really is the same story with them. I'm surprised they're ranked so high. Like, it just.
Because they have Marcus Mariota might win the Heisman. You know what I mean? He might win the Heisman and not even play in a national semifinal game. It might happen.
And I wouldn't be.
They might win the Heisman and not even play in the conference championship. Might happen.
It just like, look, I get it. Like, I get why people do it because they're flashy, they score a lot of points, but just like I don't know. It just feels like I've heard the story last year and the year before. But, I guess can't be for sure on anything. Fine. Oregon expected to do pretty much the same story as last year. You're essentially predicting the same story arc with their season.
Yeah.
Any other team? Who's the other team that you said that you were hinting at when you said you might not necessarily pick Stanford or Oregon? In order to do that, that means there's another team in here that's catching your eye a little bit. Who is it?
Oregon State.
With Sean Mannion, right?
The defense, the entire defense is back. The entire defense is back. Sean Mannion's back. And Victor Bolden, who a lot of people said was better than Brandon Crooks last year, he's there. So, a lot of people say, well, talent-wise, he's better than Brandon. He's younger. You know what I mean? He's there. So I'm just saying, they might give Oregon hell this year. Like they did last year. They might actually take that game this year, though. So.
And this year the game is in Oregon State.
Yeah, so like I told y'all that. Remember the Arizona game? And people was like, "What the hell?" Because I got 4 messages on Twitter after the show went up. Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I didn't think they'd win.
You just said, "Watch out."
Yeah, watch out for that game because
Arizona. God, I'll never forget. For everyone who doesn't know, last year we were previewing every week when on the show. We preview the top games of the week, and Markeem said, I'm not necessarily going to preview it. I'm just saying that Arizona Oregon game, watch out. And when the game happened, Arizona killed them, won by like 20 points, and it was a huge upset.
And I was like, wait a minute, I didn't think that would happen, but okay.
We're giving you content that you have to pay for. We're giving you paid quality, paying for insight, but we give it to you for free because we love you guys. But anyways, even though Markeem didn't predict,
I remember College Game Day when Kirk Herbstreit was talking him up. He was like, and all that won't matter because Oregon will destroy them. And then Lee Corso was like, yeah, Oregon huge. And it was funny watching College Game Day final. He was like, Kirk Herbstreit was like, I don't get why you guys watch this show. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I don't even know what happened. Because I watched that whole game from kickoff. Oregon disappeared. That was a different team. It was like, that was a ghost team. College football. No real analysis. He's like, college football. That's my analysis of the game.
Markeem outshines Kirk Herbstreit. That's all you need to know. But I do remember that whole thing, and that thing was pretty comical. So you're saying the same thing with Oregon State, essentially, with their season, essentially.
Yeah, I think they will compete no matter who they play.
Sean Mannion is their quarterback, and he's getting a lot of draft hype. I've seen some people have him in like the 2nd or 3rd round in draft rankings. So.
That dude's release is too slow, though. If he got to do something about that, he gonna get picked off a lot in the NFL.
Yeesh. Well, we shall see this season.
That dude's release is like Byron Leftwich slow. Wow. You gotta fix that shit.
Jesus. All right, and that does it for Oregon State. Like I said, like I did with the South, Washington State, California. Any last word you want to say about any of those 3 in particular?
Sonny Dykes is getting fired this year. Sad though.
Is that the coach of
Cal? He's getting fired. Sad though because they suck, and he's a good coach. Good guy too. Good guy. He did the AL. What's the name? The ALS
Ice Bucket Challenge.
His is hilarious. Like he just jumped in a pool full of ice water. It was hilarious. But he's gonna get fired though.
Is the team struggles more because of their inability to recruit?
Yeah. Yeesh. I mean they're in California against Stanford, USC, and UCLA. Come on.
Surprise.
It would California is probably the 3rd or 2nd strongest recruiting state for football. And when you're in state with those 3 schools, don't expect much.
This is true. So are we finally predicting a Stanford UCLA Pac-12 championship game with Stanford coming out on top, I presume?
I don't know, honestly. That's the game I'm predicting, but I don't know about the winner. Ask me at the end of the video. We'll come back to that.
Okay, we'll come back to Stanford UCLA.
Because I don't know. But okay. I did forget about this. I did forget about this with Colorado. They might win more than one conference game because I did forget. I did forget that that was McIntyre's first year, and they did win one more game than they won the previous season. So I don't know.
It's on your record, damn it.
I forgot about it. So they might win, I don't know, 2 or 3 conference games.
Let's look at Colorado's conference games this year. Arizona State at home, California on the road.
They might be able to get that one.
Oregon State at home.
No.
At USC.
No.
UCLA at home. No. Washington at home.
I don't think so, no.
At Arizona.
No, just because they got to go there. No.
At Oregon.
No.
At home versus Utah.
That might be a good game, but I don't think so.
So it'd be close. It'd be close, essentially. But anyways, let's move on. Right now we have Bama, Georgia, Stanford, UCLA, but we'll come back to those anyways, like I said, at the end of the video. Now let's go to my conference, the Atlantic Coastal Conference. Markeem, tough question here. Who are the favorites to win the Atlantic Division?
Man, I got to go with Duke, man.
Oh my God, the fucking. Oh, well, the Duke. My bad. Not the Coastal. My bad. The Atlantic with we got FSU's. Listen to everybody listening to this video. This is FSU's competition to win their division this year. Are you ready? Louisville without Charlie Strong, without Teddy Bridgewater. Boston College, Wake Forest, NC State, Syracuse, and Clemson. one notable name there, but the rest is just oof. Talk about Florida State.
I realize they lost guys to the draft. I get all this, but when you recruit like Jimbo Fisher can recruit,
yes,
and you have a special athlete like Jameis Winston playing quarterback, what's the guy, the running back? Help me out. What's his name?
The running back for FSU?
Yeah,
Dalvin Cook.
Yeah. That guy, who people are saying is probably the second best player on the offense.
Yeah, he. For those who don't know, they recruited Dalvin Cook this year, 5-star recruit out of South Florida, and he's gonna.
I forgot Rashad Green's still there. Rashad Green is one of the best wide receivers in the country. I forgot about that shit. Yeah, he's still there. You know what I mean? Nick O'Leary's still there, one of the best tight ends in the country.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Four of their 5 O-line starters are all back. You know what I mean? P.J. Williams, Jalen Ramsey, Ronald Darby in the secondary, they're all back.
It's unfair.
Like, man, it's and they have the defending Heisman Trophy winner playing quarterback. I don't see how anyone can pick them not to win this conference. You know what I mean?
So, they're a good team.
Yeah, I would say so.
Fuck that, all right? This is the year that Miami takes down the Seminoles.
You know what?
It is in Miami this year.
I was going to say that, and also, I think they're just due to lose. Like, I can't imagine, like, if they run the table to the regular season, they will win the national championship. But that's hard to do. I mean, that's hard to do.
And for those who are not aware, Markeem did predict at the start of this video that no team will go undefeated.
Yeah. So I think somewhere along the way they slip up. I don't know where. I just think they slip up. I think they slip up somewhere.
I think Saturday, November 15th, is a pretty good spot.
Is that the Miami game?
Yes. Hey, in all seriousness, I mean, the only other game...
Like it might even be the conference championship. Whether it's us or Miami that gets... I just think somewhere someone catches them on an off day. I have no logical explanation for this, but I just think that if there was any team to go undefeated, though, it would be them. But I don't see that happening this year, man. Or I can see them being undefeated and everybody else having a loss. I can't imagine 2 teams going undefeated this year. I just can't. But
so they're due, like you said. Like they're just due. Even Nick Saban, freaking over 4 years, he didn't go in. Did he go undefeated the year they beat Texas in the national championship?
Were they undefeated?
I don't remember.
I think they were undefeated. I think so.
Well, either way, his other 2 national championships and last year, he couldn't go the full season without a loss. So he lost to.
They were undefeated against Texas. Yeah.
They lost to LSU. They lost to Texas A&M, and they lost to Auburn. So Nick Saban couldn't do it.
Their damn kicker lost to LSU, but we ain't gonna get into that.
I'm just saying.
If he makes those kicks, like if he makes one of those kicks, they shouldn't even be in the game. None of that would even take place, man. Like that year really got me upset. People like, they should put Oklahoma State in that game. And then when I heard that they lose to Iowa State the very next game, and I'm like, y'all still want them in that game? Remember that shit like it was yesterday.
What about now we go to Clemson, who You told me that you saw a lot of people picking Clemson to win this conference.
Yeah, and I don't fucking get it at all. No, you're like, no, you just lost Taj Boyd. You just lost Sammy Watkins. Do I really need to go any further? Like, I don't even understand how this even, like, comes up. Like, why do people think that they have any chance at all to win this damn conference? I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I mean, they're the second best team in the conference because they have the defense. They have the defense. The deepest defensive line probably in the conference. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Vic Beasley's still there. Grady Jarrett are both still there. Both of them are, and both of them are seniors. You know what I mean? It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Dabo Sweeney's a defensive mind. You know what I'm saying? They have a decent offensive line. I'm just saying, you know, they're the second best team, but they ain't beating Florida State. Let's not be crazy.
They faced Florida State this year in Doak Campbell Stadium.
In Doak Campbell. The one stadium I still want to go to. And
I got to go to it, unfortunately.
But you were on the wrong side to enjoy its greatness.
No.
Because if I go, I'm the biggest Florida State fan in the world just for that one day.
Fuck off.
Just because I want to do the chop just one time.
No, you don't want to do the chop. Fuck off. Like, not at all.
That shit looks so amazing on TV. I just want to be there one time to do it, just before I kick the bucket. I did the Gator Chomp, and like when I was a kid, and I was like, "This is the best shit ever."
Sigh. F off. So, anyways,
I don't care about going to see Miami live. Could care less.
Can we like stop completely shitting on my team and then completely celebrating my rivals? The team
I just gotta be honest, man. We'll get to Miami and Virginia Tech. We'll get there, but just gotta be honest.
I'm just saying, give them time is all. So, next
time not being this year, but
anything of note you want to say for the Atlantic Division? Anything to say about NC State, Wake Forest, Syracuse, Boston College, or Louisville at all? If you could possibly say anything about them.
Boston College is not a bad team. That's all I'll say. That's it. Like, that's all I got to say about. And Louisville isn't either. I just don't think. I think Louisville is a bowl team. Actually, I just don't think that they're. I don't think this is not. It's not the time.
You think Bobby Petrino needs time?
Yeah. No. He was. People forget how great they were when he was there. You know what I mean, like he invented that system that everyone's copying. That whole no huddle spread option. Like him and Mike Leach were like the innovators of that shit. You know what I mean, and people just forget that.
So FSU's winning the Atlantic Division.
Yeah.
Now let's go to the Coastal. This one's a little more notable. It's got Markeem's team, Virginia Tech, my team, Miami. Plus they got Duke coming back, Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh, Virginia, UNC. Who's the favorite to come out of the Coastal in your opinion?
There is no favorite to come out the damn Coastal. Everybody has some sort of problem, man. I mean, I guess we can kind of say y'all. I guess. I mean, maybe.
We're the favorites to win every year, and we find some way to fuck it up.
I don't know, man. I mean, us, we're going to have a 2 running back system. I think that's the key. That is the key with us. Like, fuck who's playing quarterback. I don't care if it's Leo or Brewer. I can care less. I think the big thing is J.C. Coleman and Trey Edmonds. If Trey Edmonds stays healthy, I think we win this conference. I mean, not conference. I think we win this division, not this conference. I think we win this division. I think we will keep the ball away from y'all, whoever we play. And I think it'll just be a ball control game. And the defense, even though we lost Kyle Fuller, which hurts my soul, but like even though we lost him, I think we'll be fine. You know what I mean? And, this coaching staff's been together forever, man. Forever. Yeah. Beamer, Foster, Steinspring, Wiles have all been together for about 20 years. I can't remember how long exactly. I know Foster and Beamer have been there 28 years together. You know what I mean? I do know that. The longest tenure in all of college football.
And your program is recovering from the Logan Thomas era.
Yeah. And no Logan Thomas. I forgot all about that. The man that was the model of ineptitude and inefficiency. No more of him. If we lose, it'll be because of other stuff, not just because of one guy. So I feel a lot better. I feel a lot better about that. So
One of my favorite stories that he's ever told on the show was when in the Virginia Tech Duke game last year, when Virginia Tech
Oh my God.
somehow lost because of Logan Thomas being an idiot, and Markeem went outside, put on his headphones, went for a walk, and
So,
just
I walked all the way. I walked about 2 miles to the Waffle House. I got me a burger and then walked back home, man. I couldn't believe it. I walked about 4 miles in total after he lost them that game. I couldn't take much more of it, man. I was gonna go crazy. When he got hurt in the Sun Bowl, I felt vindicated. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I was like, finally, something happens to this motherfucker. I hope his whole career's fucked up now. I'm serious. Like people go, you guys are too hard on Logan Thomas. No, it feels bad when you have a team that you know can really compete on a national level. I thought, like, not last year, but the year before, I thought we had the team that can make some noise, man. Like, maybe not national championship, but make some sort of noise. You know what I mean? Like compete at that level. Instead, that wasn't the case. Like we stuck with this fool. Fuck.
that story of when he made that walk, just asking himself over and over again, how did he do that?
I don't understand how I don't understand why Beamer kept starting him, to be honest. I get it, because we didn't have anyone else. I mean, like, Lil, when he came in the Sun Bowl, you know what I mean? He was bad, but at least I knew he was coming in cold. You know what I mean? He was sitting on the bench. You know what I mean? And then before he got before the game was over, like in garbage time in the last drive, he like a good quarterback. You know what I mean? I think Brewer get the start, which I'm fine with, because he might have started for Texas Tech had he not have hurt himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'd be fine with that, but anything but Logan Thomas, and I'm good. But I'm telling you, it comes down to Edwards and Coleman, though. It comes down to Edwards and Coleman. I mean, it's my bad, Edmonds and Coleman.
Okay. That does make sense. And next, is there any other team in the Coastal you want to speak of? Duke, any thoughts on them returning back from winning the Coastal last year?
I feel bad for Cutcliffe. I feel bad because, a lot of their guys graduated.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not going to be pretty, bruh. It's not going to be pretty. I think they might be back to being regular old Duke next year.
Your favorites, Georgia Tech, the Paul Johnson offense?
It's 6-7 win team like they always do.
And Pittsburgh actually has some intrigue. I don't know too much about them, but Kirk Herbstreit picked them to go 9-3 and win this conference. I mean, win this division. So, I guess they might be someone to look out for. I don't know if you would know more. I literally don't know a damn thing about this team.
The entire team is back minus Tom Savage.
And
Aaron Donald.
And Aaron Donald. Yeah.
Everybody else is back. That's literally the only two players they lost.
Wow.
But that's still not enough for me to say they'll win this. I guess they would kind of be the favorites. Now that I really think about it. Still.
Gun to your head. Pittsburgh, Virginia Tech, Miami. Who wins the Coastal right now? Don't think. Who wins?
I guess Pittsburgh.
So an FSU-Pittsburgh ACC championship game. I'm very, very curious and excited at the end of the video when you can reveal to me who you think is going to win the game. Anyways.
I do want to talk about y'all for a second, though.
Go for it. Oh, actually, yeah, I was going to go for it, but you go for it. Sure, if you want to start.
This team, and it's not their fault. Like, last year was their chance to compete.
Yes.
Stephen Morris hurt himself, and he wasn't the same. Duke Johnson hurt himself, and the offense wasn't the same. The defense, although better than the year before, was still bad.
Yes.
I think injuries had a lot to do with that, in addition to just ineptitude coaching, and even you still, like, even though a lot of those dudes were juniors, you know what I mean, in terms of seniors, it was basically just Stephen Morris, you know what I mean.
Yeah, Stephen Morris and Alan Hearns, essentially.
So that's a big deal. But I feel like this. I feel like that team was very talented last year. A lot of those dudes that were on that team last year, that's still on this team, they're gonna be playing in the NFL. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Duke Johnson, if he stays healthy, that's a big if. Will be a Heisman Trophy candidate. But I mean, just because his numbers.
Yes.
just because it's numbers. But I can't put my faith in them, man. I can't do it.
No,
I just can't.
I get it. And now
And this has nothing to do with my hatred for the school because I hate Miami.
You love
In
us.
football, and probably nothing else but football, because not really much to talk about in basketball. They have a good baseball team, but I don't follow college baseball like that, so
Fair enough. And we had a good college basketball team, as you know very well.
for one goddamn season. But
They're going to bounce back this year. We lost a lot of the trash. So, anyways, now I'll talk about Miami. I'm excited for the season, mainly just because I really love watching them play, and I'm very excited. They break my heart a lot, but nonetheless, I'm still excited to see what the season has. The quarterbacks, this should be interesting. The quarterback battle. It's going to go either down to go to Jake Heaps, who was the starting quarterback of Kansas last year. I'm pretty sure.
Oh no, I hope not, man.
And
oh God,
hold on. It's either going to be Jake Heaps, who we recruited to come in and fill the role, or if it's not Jake Heaps, it's going to be Brad Kaya, and they say it might be Brad Kaya. To those who do not know, Brad Kaya is a 4-star quarterback recruit out of California. And this dude is supposed to be the future. He's supposed to be a stud. He's a true freshman, and he might win this job. If you're
throw him in now, because that other guy, Jay Keeps from. You know how bad they were in everything last year.
Yes, they were 121st in the nation in points scored.
Jay Keeps.
So, but listen, Brad Kaya. If you start in, and Markeem, you know this. If you start in college football as a quarterback, as a true freshman, you have NFL talent. Or
they have no choice.
Yes, or there are no alternatives. But I've seen.
It looks like that's the case going on here. Goddammit!
Shut the fuck up. All right. So listen, I went to. For those who do not know, Ryan Williams. He's been the backup for Stephen Morris for 2 years. Was supposed to be the starter. He tore his ACL in April. That he wants to come back by the 4th week. They're not sure if he will, so he can't start week 1. Kevin Olson, another 4-star recruit out of Florida, brother of Greg Olson. He was supposed to take over the job this year when Ryan Williams got hurt. They say he's very immature. They say he doesn't work very hard. They say he's very, very rough in practice, and he never flashes. He then got suspended for the first game for a drug test, which essentially means he's not going to win this job and he's going to transfer. So that leaves it down to Heaps and Kaya. Kaya, I just want to say, I went to a Miami Hurricanes practice the other day. I went to the practice. Like, it was one of the few, fans are able to attend practices. I went with my dad and my brother. We went and we saw Heaps and Kaya. And Heaps, he didn't look too bad. Granted, it's practice, but Kaya has a great arm, a fantastic pocket presence, and he has great poise in there for a freshman. If he starts, I think we'll be fine because they are not going to throw the ball very much because we have Duke Johnson, and not just Duke Johnson. And I know Markeem's concerned. He was out for the year last year after he broke his ankle and all that. We also have a guy named Joseph Yerby. Remember, I told you, Markeem, about Calvin Cook, the 5-star recruit out of Florida. His fellow running back on his team was Joseph Yerby. And Yerby was, I believe, one of my friends could correct me if I'm wrong here, the lead rusher for the team. He's a 4-star out of South Florida. He's supposed to be really good as well. So even if Duke gets hurt, we got someone else back. We've got great depth at the position moving forward. And I spoke to Al.
Don't you always got great depth in the position moving forward?
Hey, quiet.
Isn't that always the case?
Quiet.
Yeah.
Quiet. Shut up.
Yeah, you had Edrin James with Willis McGahee there. What the fuck? I mean, I was with Clifton Portis there, and then the Clifton Portis with Willis McGahee and Frank Gore on the goddamn.
Yeah, don't be.
It's always the case. What else is new?
Sorry that you're still resentful about getting your ass kicked in the early 2000s. So, anyways, what I was gonna say before I was rudely interrupted was that Golden at the end of the practice came and spoke to a few of the fans, and we asked him about the run to pass ratio this year. We're going to run the ball very, very heavily. So I don't think whoever wins the quarterback position is going to be that big of a deal. And Jake Heaps can start, and it's not the end of the world. All right? But I do expect this team to do better. You remember Dallas Crawford from last year?
Yeah, of course.
Dallas Crawford has switched positions, and he's now playing safety. He played safety in high school. That's the position he was recruited at. And he really, really wanted to switch because he knew Duke was coming back from injury, and he knew they had just recruited some Joseph Yerby out of high school. He figured he had a better chance to see the field more if he went back to his old position at being a safety.
No wonder he was fumbling so much because he played safety. Okay.
Yes. So maybe that will help the defense if we get someone with his athleticism back there. I don't know. Obviously, the defense is awful. You don't need to convince me. But I wouldn't be surprised if this Hurricanes team wins 8 games this year. 7 to 8 games. Maybe I'm being optimistic, but they're going to be a bowl team, I think. I'd be very surprised if they're not.
Yeah, they'll be a bowl team.
Is it going to be enough to win the Coastal? I don't know, man. It never is.
It might.
I know, but we find something. There's always something always goes wrong.
All 3 of those teams, every team in the Coastal finds something every year.
I don't know. Can't really say that about Pittsburgh.
Like they all have bad luck with Pittsburgh. That used to be them, but now they just kind of are irrelevant. So
I will say this: that FSU game in Miami towards the end of the season, watch out. Oh, that's all. That's all I'll say. But yeah, FSU, Pittsburgh. I can't comfortably pick Miami to win the Coastal either. I'm sure as hell not going to pick Virginia Tech, so we'll stick with the Pittsburgh pick for now. But anyways, let's move on to the Big Ten very quickly.
Oh, hold on. I want to say, even though I said Louisville won't win, won't be that relevant, Will Gardner's going to have a crazy season. So if they had a college fantasy football, his numbers are going, because he's going to throw the ball like 50 times a game. That dude's going to have, his numbers are going to be so nuts.
Okay. Now we move to the Big Ten. Big Ten East. We have Indiana, Maryland, Rutgers, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State. Obviously, Ohio State lost to 1. Braxton Miller, perennial Heisman candidate. I'll never forget the first ever episode we ever did of this show 2 years ago. We talked about Braxton Miller as a Heisman candidate as a sophomore. Here he is, redshirt senior, his big year, his chance to lead a national title contending team. Now that he's gone, I need to ask you, is Ohio State still the favorites to win the East? And before Braxton got hurt, would you have picked them to win the East?
Yes, and there was never a favorite.
Okay. Fair enough.
I think that I still think they win the East, just because I don't trust any other teams in the East, just because of that. But because Indiana, we all know how they struggle every single year. The score points, even though they always end up having athletes on the offensive side of the ball, it's very fucking weird. It's just, I don't know. I guess it's just tradition there. I don't know.
Yes.
Maryland's there this year. So that kind of makes things interesting. I don't know what happened there because they were very competitive last year. I minus the Florida State game.
Yes.
Did you pick them to win that game?
Shut up.
You didn't do that. that was one of those shows I wouldn't hear or something like that.
Yes, it was just me and Phil, and I predicted them to win, and they lost like 63-0 or something.
Crazy.
I'll look up the score right now. But continue. Michigan State, Michigan.
But the thing that kind of scares me about Ohio State though, they did lose Ryan Shazier, who was the most reliable defensive player they had, kind of the leader of that defense. The rest of those dudes were kind of in disarray. No Carlos Hyde anymore. Corey Brown's gone. Bradley Roby is gone. I forgot about Bradley. Bradley Roby's gone too. I'm just saying, that's why I wasn't so gung-ho about them being the favorites to win anything. You know what I mean? Because they did lose a lot of time. I thought Braxton Miller would be there, so I feel a little bit more confident. But, even with that being said, I still think they win the East, though. I do. I think they win the East.
So I want to ask, Michigan State, the people that beat them in the Big Ten championship game last year, are they not going to, be as competitive as us? They were looking good last year towards the end of the season. They beat Stanford in the Rose Bowl.
That's my pick to win in the Big Ten.
Oh.
Yeah. We're going to get there. They're on the other side. We're going to get there.
Did I Stop being so... I think I screwed something up when I...
Yeah. You called out the name of the other side of the damn bracket. So Like Michigan State is on the other side of the bracket, sir.
Are you sure they're not on the West?
I'm positive.
I mean, fucking ESPN has them listed on the East.
No, I meant no, my bad. I meant whatever side Ohio State's on. The isn't that the East?
Yes.
And Michigan State's on the West, right?
I think they're on the East.
You're wrong, sir.
Wait, no. This is how ESPN has it. Look.
Send me the link.
I will. Maybe something changed. I know last year, obviously, it wouldn't have made sense.
Okay, well then never mind then. Michigan State will win the East then.
Okay.
Shit, if that's the case. I didn't know they realigned it. I knew they were supposed to. I didn't know it happened now.
Yeah, I'll look it up. I'll look up the realignment. Oh, yeah, it says Big Ten realignment. But that was in 2013. I don't know.
Yeah, the end of the season. Like, it happened after the college football season. Because remember, they played each other in the conference championship game.
Yeah, that's why I thought they were on opposite sides.
I forgot. I didn't know it was happening. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. I just didn't know it was happening. Yeah, I can't remember. I couldn't remember when it happened. But yes, Michigan State wins this side of the bracket. I would have thought that even if Braxton Miller was playing. I just think they win, this conference in general. Just because, they lost Dockwoods Dinner, which, how big of a loss is that, really? Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it, goddammit. Like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. They still have, they missed some names on defense. Like I said, Dockwoods Dinner. But for the most part, man, like, the core of the team is back. Connor Cook's back at quarterback. Yeah, I mean, the only receiver they lost was Bernie Fowler. I think that the offense in general will be better. Yeah, I mean, like Jeremy Langford will be back. Yeah, I mean, they got all their running backs that play any sort of time in general back last year. The offensive line still intact. I think offensively it will be how they beat people this year. I mean, I think it'll still be stalwart defensively, but offensively is how they beat people this year. So,
what about Michigan? Anything to say about them?
No. Let's move on.
Wow. No love for Devin Gardner?
No.
Hey, man, he was like a fucking fourth round prospect last year before the season.
I have nothing to say about Michigan.
Literally, wow. Such disdain. They're going to be a bowl team, though, right?
I guess.
They only won 7 games last year. Damn, I forgot about that. I forgot they collapsed towards the end of the season. All right. No worries. But any other teams in the East? Rutgers, Maryland, Indiana, Penn State. I know you had some choice words for Hackenberg. I think it's interesting before the show. I think it's interesting you share them here.
I just think he's a little overrated, man. I understand the hype he had as a freshman. I feel like he kind of didn't live up to that, to be honest with you. Just me. I think he's a little bit overrated, man. Just a little bit. I think the dude's good. I just think that people are ready to crown him. Let's see a little bit more from the dude first before we do that. I think there was a lot of times last year where he looked just flat out awful. I know he was young, but he looked flat out awful, man. Like not throwing off balance, without your feet set, across your body, without looking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just bad stuff, and in key moments too. Like I remember the reason why I won't pick Michigan to do anything is because that game against Penn State. If you remember that game, it's like they were competing to lose that fucking game. So many turnovers late, whether it's Hackenberg fumbling, Gardner throwing an interception, the kicker fucking up the kick and actually missing the ball. That actually happened. He went for the kick and missed the fucking ball, so the holder had to keep the ball and then run. That game was like the battle of who wants to lose it. I don't remember who won. I can't remember.
Penn State did.
Yeah, but that game was ridiculous. But yeah, I think he'll develop into something that people think he is. I don't know. It's too early to tell. But let's just wait until he does that before we decide to crown him anything. It's just my opinion.
By the way, Michigan, 18th ranked team in the country right now.
Because it's Michigan.
It's a rep alone.
Yeah.
That Penn State game was Michigan's first loss of the season, by the way.
And they looked awful before that, though. They didn't look very good before that.
Man, I'm looking at Michigan's finish. They lose to Penn State. They beat Indiana. They lose to Michigan State. They lose to Nebraska in a game I watched, which was an awful game. Then they lose to Iowa. Then they lose to Ohio State. And then they lose to Kansas State. Yeesh. What a rough finish for them. All right. Anyways, anything last words to say about Indiana, Maryland, Rutgers? Nothing really, or move on? Oh, you already said Indiana. You already said Maryland, actually.
Yeah, they'll compete. Indiana, no. Rutgers, it's fucking Rutgers. Let's go.
The West, Northwestern, Minnesota, Nebraska, with your favorite Bo Pelini, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, Purdue. Who's the favorite?
Wisconsin is the favorite, but I want to talk about Nebraska.
Go for it.
Amir Abdullah's a bad dude, but here's the thing. I don't even necessarily want to talk about the team. Bo Pelini is the luckiest dude in the world. Because the reason why I say that is because the fan base is fed up with him. The alumni is fed up with him. The thing that is keeping him there, though, is that the players love that dude. And if the players love you, I guess that's enough to keep your job. I mean, because it is enough to keep your job. But like he shouldn't be there, man. To say what he said about the fan base, even though I know it was old, but him not even like he didn't even apologize. You know what I mean, he didn't care. You know what I'm saying? To say that and then to basically say I don't care what Tommy Frazier, the best player this program's ever seen, has to say about me. Like I don't care. Like I feel like he doesn't deserve the position he's in. He doesn't.
The Canes play at Nebraska this year. Should I be excited?
It'd be fun seeing Amir Abdullah and Duke Johnson just see who can have the most yards that game. It'd be crazy.
Actually, it would be pretty cool. But anyways, Bo Pelini aside, can Nebraska win the West?
Yeah, capable.
That'd be something. They go to the Big Ten championship. Bo Pelini saves his job again.
Yeah, like the players love him. Like so, you can't get rid of someone the players love. I mean, USC did it, but whatever.
Oh my god! All right. What about Wisconsin? Melvin Gordon getting a lot of draft hype. What do you think about them?
I think he'll be a Heisman candidate. To be honest with you,
wow.
I think like that's one of my. I'm certain. I'm reasonably sure he'll be in New York. Reasonably sure about him.
I mean, if Andre Williams and Trey Mason can make it, I guess Melvin Gordon has as good a shot this year.
Because he has some big stages this year, man. First game of the season against LSU.
Wow.
He does work that game, Win, lose, or draw. If he shows out, then he's on some big time stages this year. If he does a good job, who knows?
That is very, very, very cool. Actually,
like the running game will take them over the top from any other team in this conference. I think Amir Abdullah is an amazing player. I think in the NFL he'll be perfect in the current style of NFL, catching passes out the backfield, being a big play guy, kind of like a Marshall Faulk, just not as talented. You know what I mean? But he'll be great at that. Yeah, amazing at that. But I think that this year in college football, they will hand the ball to him a lot more because he averaged a bunch of yards per carry because he didn't touch the ball in the backfield that much as like, a straight up utility back. That's going to happen this year. And I don't think he's going to average as many yards per carry and things like that. He's still a great running back though. But
what about Northwestern? I remember before the season last year, Pat Fitzgerald got a ton of hype for Northwestern possibly being like, a sneaky competitive team in the Big Ten, and Pat Fitzgerald maybe even getting NFL head coaching job offers in the future. Then they just kind of collapsed. So what do you think about them and him?
He's still a great coach, but I'll believe it when I see it. Like it's Northwestern. It's hard for me to believe in Northwestern at this point, especially after last year.
They lost 7 games in a row last year.
After the Ohio State debacle.
Yeah.
7 in a row.
They lost.
I'll believe it when I see it, man.
They lost to Michigan, man. You know what that is? They lost to Nebraska. They lost to Iowa. Yeesh. But yeah, we'll see with Northwestern. So, gun to your head, out of the West. Wisconsin?
Yeah. But my boy Kyle will like this. This is crazy. About to say something crazy. Crazy prediction.
Go for it.
Iowa, at the mid-season point of the season, before the Maryland game, will be undefeated.
Wow.
Yeah. Look at the schedule.
I'm looking at it right now. Their schedule this upcoming year: Northern Iowa, then Northern Iowa, Ball State, Iowa State, at Pittsburgh, at Purdue, Indiana, Maryland, Northwestern.
Yeah, that's the game they lose.
But then Northwestern, Minnesota, Illinois, Wisconsin, Nebraska.
But at the mid-season point, they'll be undefeated.
And like 10th ranked in the country?
I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. But at that point, undefeated.
Damn. So we're calling a Michigan State Wisconsin Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
Anything else to say about
the most boring game you guys will ever see?
But
can't wait.
Anything nice to say very quickly before we get off on the Big Ten about Wisconsin, Illinois, or Purdue, or moving on?
To Illinois or Purdue, no.
Wisconsin? I mean, not Wisconsin. Minnesota.
They are physical. They will play good defense. They just won't score enough points. That's kind of the story with them. Like, they're a very good defensive team. That's always been the case. Yeah, I mean, even when they had Lawrence Maroney and Marion Barber. Yeah, I mean, a very good defensive team. It's just they very predictable on offense, so it's hard for them to score points.
Okay.
Because they've never had a quarterback that's been able to throw. When I say been able to throw, I mean throwing the football in a forward position.
Jesus.
I mean, I don't mean well. I mean just throwing the damn football. So
Jesus. Next, we move on to the Big 12. Finally, the Big 12. Do they still not have a conference championship game?
Nope.
God damn it, that's boring. Well, anyways, Iowa State, Oklahoma, Baylor, Texas Tech, TCU, Kansas State, West Virginia. Who's most likely to win the Big 12?
This is a two-horse race.
Go for it.
Oklahoma and Baylor is the single biggest game of the college football season, in my opinion.
Wow.
And Oklahoma gets it at home. You know what I mean? So you kind of got to give them the advantage. I'm not going to pick that game because, I kind of have to wait to how the season's going. You know what I mean? Until I get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, it's one of those two. One of those two. I'll tell you this. One of those two will be the Final Four at the end of the season.
Wow.
Yeah. You heard it here first. I don't know which one. Don't ask me. I don't know.
Bryce Petty also getting a lot of draft type right now. Some people say mechanically he may be the best quarterback in next year's class.
Maybe. Like Jameis Winston would be if he worked on his ball placement.
What about Texas with Charlie Strong? Can we expect him to turn around this program?
8 wins.
Wow. I mean, that is an improvement. That's something that they should be happy with.
Yeah.
Any love for Texas Tech, TCU, Kansas State, West Virginia?
Well, I got no love for TCU. I got no love.
Oh, that's right. Or Texas Tech.
Yeah. I think people are sleeping on Oklahoma State. I heard someone say that they only won like 4 games this year. Nah, man, that team. They still could score. Like, let's not get crazy here. You know, they still could score.
They opened the season against FSU.
It's over. Like that's a massacre. But I still think they win like 6-7 games, man. That team can score. They score a lot of points. They can't score on those guys, but they can score.
Is Iowa State the famous team that beat USC in USC last year in Week 2 with Lane Kiffin?
Was it Iowa State?
Or am I thinking of someone else?
I think you might be right. I can't remember.
Here, I'm looking. Because I just remember that it was Iowa State's first road game win in 2 years. And it was against Lane Kiffin and USC.
Was that it? Was it them?
No, it was not. Fuck, it was someone else.
Who was that?
Actually, I'm like really like pretty curious about this right now. So I'll look into this very quickly. So we're gonna predict a Baylor. I know this game doesn't actually exist, but let's call it the Baylor-Oklahoma championship game for the Big 12.
That's what it is, man. I would be shocked if anybody else wins this conference. I would be shocked. And let's say Texas, by the grace of God, wins this conference. Charlie Strong will be in the NFL. Like, fuck the rest of this conference. Like, he's going to be coaching the damn Cowboys.
It was Washington State, by the way.
Okay, all right.
I knew it was.
Oh, yeah, I remember that because Mike Leach was acting like he was just going to be there forever because of that game. Yes. Like, nigga, you beat Lane Kiffin. Shut up.
Okay, so we got Oklahoma, Baylor, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Florida State, Pittsburgh, Stanford, UCLA, Bama, Georgia. And your winners so far are, gun to your head, gotta pick it, Oklahoma or Baylor.
Fuck.
Give me a name.
Jesus Christ, you're killing me, kid. I'm gonna regret this.
You're gonna pick Oklahoma.
I'm gonna go with Oklahoma just because I think talent wise, they're only slightly better. Slightly.
Okay. Then we also have Michigan State and Wisconsin. You're picking Michigan State to win the Big Ten.
Yeah.
We're picking Florida State to win the ACC.
Yeah. No. Wait a minute. No, I'm kidding.
Bama to win the SEC.
Yeah.
And you said I needed to go back to you. Stanford, UCLA. Now you got to pick.
UCLA.
So UCLA, Bama, FSU, Oklahoma, Michigan State. Is it safe for me to assume that your top 4 teams are
Now here's the thing that's gonna piss people off. I hate to do this to you.
Okay.
Right? If y'all know how to, this is the one flaw with the college football playoff I was looking at. It's a possibility that one of the 4 teams might leave out one of those teams.
Eesh.
It could be a team that not even wins the conference if they're just in the top 4 teams in the nation. It's very slim. That doesn't happen often, but it could happen, and it might piss some people off. And I don't blame them because if that's the case, that's very flawed. And they got to do something about that. But see, it's just preliminary. This season's gonna be kind of like a trial and error thing, and they're gonna work out the kinks later. But that could happen. I don't think it happens this year, but I just wanted to point that out.
So, who would your top 4 teams be? Rank them 1 through 4, just based on how you think they'll finish by season's end. Of those 5 teams.
1 through Florida. Florida State.
Yes.
Bama.
Yes.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Michigan State.
So we're leaving UCLA out. All right. And Florida State, Michigan State. Who would win?
Florida State.
Bama, Oklahoma. The rematch.
Bama.
So you're predicting a Florida State-Bama championship game.
Yeah.
Who's winning it all?
Bama.
Wow. Kirk Herbstreit, so you know, also picked a Florida State-Bama championship game, with Florida State repeating.
I think that you give Nick Saban a chance to prepare for Jameis Winston. Because I promise you, against UCLA, it's not much of a challenge for them, bro. It's not. It's not, but just call it what it is. Not much of a challenge for them, bro. So he's not really. I'm gonna be real with you. He's going to prepare for Florida State. If they get past UCLA, that's 2 weeks to prepare for Jameis Winston. It's over. It's over. So you've seen it. You've seen it. You know what I mean? You've seen what he did to Notre Dame and a kid like Everett Golston, who I will get to. You saw what he did to him. You know what I mean? You saw what he did to LSU's offense. You know what I mean? You saw what he did to he injured Colt McCoy.
Yeah.
Those guys beat up Colt McCoy and took him out of the game. So he was already hurt coming into it, thanks to Dominican Sue ragdolling him around that whole game. But
however, Johnny Manziel, Saban couldn't stop him.
Well, nobody could. Man. Nobody could stop that offense. Like A&M had a crazy offense.
So maybe Jameis is an exception.
No, just because as talented as he is, he ain't unpredictable. Johnny Manziel's just unpredictable. You don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. You pretty much have an idea what Jameis can do. I mean,
this is true. So my
opinions may change as the season goes along.
Yeah.
Right now, this is how I see things playing out.
Bama, FSU, Bama winning it all.
Yeah.
God, I very well may not watch that game if that's the case. Bama and FSU.
But I tell you this though, if we get that matchup, I can promise you. Y'all thought last year was crazy. Y'all thought last year was amazing. That game might be just as good.
But we all know it's going to be like Bama is going to win. And then FSU, Michigan State, Connor Cook's going to throw like the 50-yard Hail Mary to deprive us of the matchup for the second year in a row.
That'd be crazy. That'd be nuts. Like this is not. It's not go. Everybody's going to be wrong. The top 4 teams are going to be just something no one predicts. Yes. Everyone's going to be wrong. Like, just
go back to our video last year and listen to Markeem's thoughts on Auburn.
Yeah, exactly. So,
all right, that's fair. Very quickly, since you brought them up, Notre Dame still conference-less this year. How do you think they would do?
They're making a bowl. They're a bowl team. Everett Ghost is going to get the start, and I'm happy for him because I think, he learned a lot. He learned his lesson. I think, him sitting out is exactly what he needed.
Yeah.
He'll be ready to go. In a major way.
Do you think Notre Dame wins 9 games this year?
Give me their schedule.
Versus Rice.
Yeah.
Versus Michigan.
Yeah.
Versus Purdue.
Yeah.
At Syracuse.
Yeah.
Versus Stanford.
No.
Versus UNC.
I'm going to say yes.
At FSU.
No.
At Navy.
Ooh, that's gonna be interesting too. I'm gonna say they beat them, but that'll be a game that's better than people think it will be.
At Arizona State.
Yeah, I think they get them. Also a good game.
Northwestern.
They're going there. They got them at home.
Home.
Oh, they win.
Louisville at home.
I'm gonna say no.
And USC on the road.
No.
That is 8-4, so slightly below 9 wins. But
not bad.
We shall see. All right, we got into the national title game. Now let's get into the Heisman. Who do you think are your best bet for the 5 people that are going to be in New York? I'll say 5, but if you want to say
5,
if you want to pick 6, you can. But I was going to just generally say 5, 4 or 5.
Obviously, Jameis Winston.
Yes.
I don't really have to. Bryce Petty is another one.
I can understand that.
Marcus Mariota.
Oh yeah.
Leonard Fournette.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And I got one more name, right?
Yeah. Wasn't there someone that we said earlier in this show that we? Oh yeah, Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
There's Leonard Fournette in New York as a freshman.
Yeah.
Damn. I like it.
And Everett Golston if I had to choose 6.
Wow. That high.
I really think he's going to come out and ball the fuck out this shit.
Damn. Do you think Everett Golston will get drafted one day?
He's going to have to come back next year. It is that simple. He's got it. I'm sorry, you got to play as a senior, boy. If you come out this year, no, but he's going to have to come back. I tell you, players I really like though. Rakeem Cato is a bad dude.
Yes.
I think I said it last year. You was like, who the fuck is that? I bet you watched that game, didn't you? Though.
Yes, he's very good.
Rakeem Cato,
Chucky Keaton.
Yeah. Stay healthy. You can stay healthy, maybe. I like obviously T.J. Yeldon, Marcus Mariota. I say Marcus Mariota. Yeah, he's gonna be in New York. Yeah. Mike Davis, obviously, maybe the best running back in the country. Amir Abdullah is going to be, in my opinion, probably out of all these dudes, probably the best at NFL level. So
I could see that. Oh, no, that's definitely a lot of time. We'll get into that when we go into our top 5-0 players. But very quickly, before we get to that, I want to ask, gun to your head right now, who's the number 1 overall pick next year? Regardless of, it's probably some quarterback needy team also with a bad defense. But who's number 1 overall next year?
All right, when you say number 1, you ask me who's the best player next year or what?
Who gets drafted number 1 overall?
Just a guess.
Yeah.
Shot in the dark.
Yeah.
Marcus Mariota.
Who is the best?
Shot in the dark.
Who is the best?
I don't know, man. Let's let the season play out. Then I have an answer for you.
All right, but Marcus Mariota is your best guess. Do you believe Jameis when Jameis says he's going to stay?
Yeah, I do actually. I think he's serious about that.
Fuck. That's a problem.
Unless he gets hurt. If he gets hurt, he's gone. But taking his ball and going home. But if he doesn't, I mean, I believe him. His family's not struggling. I mean, we know this, so.
All right. Fair enough. And finally, just like we did last year we gave to close out the show, we kind of gone through everything. Like, thank you for everything. But to close.
You didn't ask me who I think is going to win the Heisman.
Oh, you're right. Who is going to win the Heisman?
Bryce Petty.
Wow. From Baylor.
Yeah.
And you have Oklahoma winning the Big 12.
Yeah, but he's going to win the Heisman.
I like that pick. I like that pick a lot, actually. What's the name of their coach? Oh, Art Briles. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you called Bryce Petty Art Briles last year.
Yes.
Art Briles is a great quarterback. I was like, he is? I didn't know.
I don't think anything's worse than that Maryland game. That show that me and Phil did when I think it was the Maryland game, but it might have been another game that you laughed at me for predicting. It wasn't just that one.
West Virginia and who was that? The Big 12, West Virginia and Baylor, and you picked West Virginia. I was like, what are you doing?
Yes, and Baylor put up like 75 points.
Yeah. I don't know. Their defense might be able to slow them down enough. I'm like, they're like middle of the pack defensively. They can't slow them down. What are you doing?
Everyone has their, their.
Oh, another name I want to throw out there. He's gonna be great this year, but he's not gonna win anything because of just who he's competing against. That's Jake Waters.
Who's that?
Watch out for him. And at Kansas State, he's gonna put up some big numbers.
You a quarterback?
Yeah.
Jake Waters.
What?
Where do you know him from?
I know him from last season. He was really good until he tweaked his ankle, and he wasn't the same. This year, he's a senior. Gonna put up numbers. Taysom Hill's another dude's gonna put up numbers. Forgot about him. BYU. He might have like 5,000 yards this year.
So finally, to close out the podcast, we already predicted you think Bama's winning it all, beating FSU. You think Bryce Petty's winning the Heisman, beating out Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, Leonard Fournette, Melvin Gordon, and possibly Everett Golson. You already predicted UCLA to win the Pac-12, FSU to win the ACC, Michigan State to win the Big Ten, Oklahoma to win the Big 12, FSU to win the ACC, Bama to win the SEC, Georgia, Wisconsin, Pittsburgh, Stanford, Baylor, some other teams you like. Now I'm going to ask you, just very quickly, if you can, I'm not going to force you to drag it on if you don't know, if nothing comes to memory, because I know last year there were some issues with this, but I'll say offensive players, just all offense, all across the board. If you had to name 5 guys, who would it be?
Marcus Mariota,
Jameis Winston, Bryce Petty, I presume.
Jameis Winston, Bryce Petty, Leonard Fournette. And we're talking about a 5th guy, Amir Abdullah.
We're high on Amir Abdullah. Okay. No, I see it. A lot of scouts are really high on him. Defense, I won't force you to name a top 5 if you can't, but if you can name a top 3 of defensive players you like to watch this year.
Robert Nkemdiche.
Yes.
The other guy playing on the other side of him, I forget his name. That guy from Clemson. I'm not
Vic Beasley. Vic Beasley.
Beasley.
Vic Beasley is a stud. Is his name C.J. Johnson?
Yeah, the other guy in Ole Miss.
Yeah. C.J. Johnson, Nkemdiche, Vic Beasley. Those are very, very, very good names.
And someone else I'm thinking of.
Do you know the school?
No, I don't. Never mind. Those are the 3. Those are the 3.
Coaches. We can name 5. I know we struggled last year, but we ended up doing it at the end of the day. Give me the 5 top coaches going into the season.
Bob Stoops, I hate to say it. Probably win Coach of the Year. I hate that hurts. Hurts to even say that shit. But I think he's going to win Coach of the Year.
Bob Stoops?
Yeah, just throwing it out. Oh, God.
Jesus.
Oh God. Because this is such a contradiction. It's such a contradiction.
Oh, the hypocrisy. It's going to be great.
Oh, man. Mark Richt will be in that conversation, too. That's
okay.
Another, oh, God.
Bob Stoops, Mark Richt.
Charlie Strong, if they really do something special, maybe.
Charlie Strong.
If somehow Clemson beats Florida State, Dabo Swinney, maybe. If somehow that happens, some miracle that happens.
I'm going to throw Nick Saban's name on there.
Coach of the Year.
What you predict him to win the national championship?
I mean, you can get all the best players. I mean, you ain't got to do much, motherfucker.
All right. So Bob Stoops, Mark Richt, Dabo Sweeney,
and I swear, if somehow, some way,
Charlie Strong.
If somehow, some way, Urban Meyer can get them into that title game, he's going to win Coach of the Year. Into that Big Ten title game, without Braxton Miller, he's going to win Coach of the Year.
Oh, you just mean the Big Ten title game, not even the national title game.
Yeah, not even that, just in the Big Ten title game. If they get there without their best player, Coach of the Year.
So our candidates are Urban Meyer, Mark Richt, Charlie Strong, Dabo Sweeney, Bob Stoops, with your favorite Bob Stoops winner.
Oh, and let's not forget Gus Malzahn.
And Gus Malzahn, obviously a great coach. Kevin Sumlin also, just for being a good coach.
Good coach? You gonna go that far?
I believe we had him in our top 5 last year. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we did.
I've changed my mind, sir.
Okay. Okay, fair enough.
Johnny Football and Mike Evans were the best coaches on that team last year.
Jesus.
Man, I don't know, man. I don't really respect him that much. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Just because of that defense?
Yeah, you can't coach a defense that bad and me call you a good coach. It's just not gonna happen. Jason Garrett puts up a bunch of points a game, and they give up a lot of points on defense. He's not a good coach. No one would consider him a good coach. So
what about Gus Malzahn though?
Oh, but that's different though. They win.
I guess this is true, but man, I'm amazed at everything you said today in this podcast.
I'm not gonna say he's not a good coach. That might be a little too far, but I can't put him with the company I just said this year. I just can't.
Okay, I can respect that. I'm just still amazed. We have Bob.
And watch A&M goes undefeated. Some kid, Johnny Football like kid is there that we don't even know about.
I'm just amazed that we have your favorite Bob Stoops winning Coach of the Year, your favorite Lane Kiffin winning a national championship.
Yeah, I know.
It's just an amazing year. But anyways, that's our preview for the day.
Oh, hold on, wait.
What did I miss?
Two things I want to say.
Go for it.
My Eagles are.
Yes, my bad.
My Eagles will probably have the exact same record they had last year.
10-6.
Give up more points on defense. Well, I don't know. They'll probably be better defensively, but Jeremy Maclin need to get it in gear, son. I'm tired of him getting dinged up. It's getting on my nerves. Like, dude, I need you, especially without Deshaun Jackson. We kind of need you on the field this year. No fucking excuse. You gotta suck it up, sir. Get out there and play.
Oh my God, this nigga's hurt again.
Yeah, it got on my nerves, man. But the main thing I wanted to say, though, you probably already know how I feel about this. Two things I want to say. RG3 will be the comeback player of the year.
Really?
Yeah.
He's had a shaky preseason.
And compounding what I just said, NFL MVP, number 12, Indianapolis coach, Andrew Luck.
What a fucking surprise.
No, and that's it. Just listen. Okay. This is his third year. The third year is supposed to be the big, the big turning point for a quarterback's career. He had a pretty damn good second year. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You throw in Hakeem Nicks with Reggie Wayne coming back, T.Y. Hilton, Kobe Fleener, better offensive line, and him developing. I'm just saying. If there's anybody that could challenge Peyton Manning or Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees for that title this year, would it not be Andrew Luck?
Oh my God! Just like
I'm just saying, think about that. Just think about it.
All I know is you have a vested interest because your goddamn fucking prediction from 2 years ago now it's 3 years, by the way. In 3 years, Andrew Luck and RG3 will be the two best quarterbacks in the NFL.
And listen to what I just said. Comeback player of the year.
MVP.
I'm dead ass about that comeback player of the year, though. I really think RG3 is going to win it.
I mean, did you see? I don't know. I don't know, man. What if he can't throw?
RG3? Nah, come on, son. Come on. That dude can throw. He can throw, sir. He can throw the football, sir.
His tape last year says otherwise.
He was also still dinged up last year, and he was also in an offense but ran by the Shanahans last year. So, we'll see. If he struggles this year, I would have to admit I'm wrong about RG3, and that would suck.
Quarterbacks have a biased advantage with comeback player of the. I will say I did see the Redskins-Browns game, and he did throw a bad interception, but before that, he had some really nice throws to Deshaun Jackson, like 30-yard bombs, stepping into his throws and everything. So
he's a bad dude, man. But the even badder dude. I'm telling you, y'all watch, and y'all gonna be like, "Oh my God, Markeem called it."
Yeah.
If not MVP, Andrew Luck could do something special this year. Something special will happen in Indianapolis this year. I promise you. I'm not saying he's gonna win the Super Bowl, but
there's no fucking way.
But whoa, why is it no fucking way though? Think about the AFC, okay? Think about the AFC.
Fuck Chuck Pagano. That's why.
Whatever. But the bad coaches have won titles in the NFL plenty of times, so I don't hear that. But anyway.
Look at the AFC. They just have the Broncos, the offensive juggernaut who improved their defense.
Okay, but just wait. If they can beat them, though, like they did last year, if they can beat them like they did last year in the regular season, who else can you honestly say is clearly better than them?
The Patriots.
Oh, seriously?
No. You know I would never. You know I would die before I say that.
I mean, the Broncos are the best team in that conference, but I mean, wouldn't they be second? Like, aren't they second? Give me one. You know what I'm saying?
I've seen people put Patriots at second,
but they aren't. They aren't second. They aren't second.
Oh.
They aren't. Nigga, you know they aren't second. Look at that receiver core. Like, they aren't second.
I mean,
is Gronk even back? Is he even practicing and playing in the preseason? He even back?
He's not playing in the preseason, but he might be back for week 1. But there's no confirmation whatsoever on that.
$20 says he gets hurt again.
I mean, yes, that's a given. Did he get hurt in Arizona, by the way?
No. This was not an issue. Him and Nick Foles were playing together? No. No.
Then what the fuck is going on?
I don't know. This is weird. Like he no injury problems at all. The biggest problem people had with him is that they questioned his hands. They thought he couldn't catch, and he worked on that. And you see what he is when he's healthy.
Well, anyways, Markeem's glowing love fest for Andrew Luck and RG3.
Just think about what I said. It's not even me being biased. Like, I would say that if it was someone else. It doesn't matter. Just think about that.
No, I will. And it's not like, look, I've seen other people say RG3 could win comeback player of the year. So I'm not.
But I'm the only dude you heard say Andrew Luck will win MVP, right?
Well, yes, essentially.
Everybody's like, "Oh, Peyton Manning." Peyton, yeah, okay.
I've heard a lot of people say the bad man.
And Rodgers, I can see that. You know, if I'm wrong, one of those two, maybe even Drew Brees, but I really believe it. See, he's going like every year he does something special, and y'all go, well, maybe Marquinhos right about this boy. Y'all gonna see it for a whole season this year. Watch.
I will say one of my favorite stats ever. When down by 12 points or more, Andrew Luck is 7-9. Every other quarterback in the NFL is like 1-10.
Just think about that. You know who else had a number like that? Like during their career, you know who else had a number like that? Kid.
7.
Huh?
7.
There you go. The greatest to ever live.
The bias continues. But with that, that's a preview for today.
Y'all take care. These fools will be back with the NFL preview. So.
At some point.
Hopefully I mean, they got like how many weeks? Like about 2 weeks left?
Yeah, you got time.
It is 3 weeks. I think it's 3 weeks, ain't it?
Yeah, it's 3 weeks.
Okay, so they'll be back with that. And then we'll all be back after week 1 of everything. So
hell yeah. I'm excited. Football's back, Markeem.
Yeah.
And with that, we're out.
And no comments about the Cavaliers.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about that bullshit.
And after the baseball season, I have something to say. So.
And with that,
it involves Robinson Cano. Just throwing that out there.
All right. I'm excited.
After the season, I'll talk more about it.
And with that, finally, we are finished with our preview. Thanks everyone for listening. Peace.
Yeah.